All right, hello everybody. So tonight we're doing things a little differently, but of course I'm just waiting to see who else might show up. Um, I did invite some people to for a panel. I do know, I do know that RJ did confirm he's going to come over right after he finishes his show. We're just waiting on more people to show up. So we're just waiting around to see if people show up. Anyways, hope everybody's having a good holiday weekend here, Memorial Day. Um, 'Cause I live and breathe, it's Philadelphia freedom. On the day when I was born to be alive. Hmm. Like father, like son, you're always number one. Yeah, there's buddies, there's pals. Always seem to work things out. Can't you see they're two of a kind? Looking for a real good time. Port to the Goof Troop, and we'll always stick together. Yeah, we're the Goof Troop, best of friends forever. Yeah, we're the Goof Troop, and we always stick together. Yeah, we're the Goof Troop, best of friends forever. Now we're calling everyone. Come along and join the fun. Port to the Goof Troop. Bop, bop, loo, bop, boop, bop. Yeah. Anyways, so we're just. There. Let me see now. Hong Kong Fooey, number one super guy. Hong Kong Fooey, quicker than a human eye. Chuck ping, chuck pong, chuck pong ping. Hello, second person. Um, we're just waiting on some of my panelists to come in. We're doing something a little different today. Um, let's see. Wow, they came and went. We're just waiting around. I'm just a bill up on Capitol Hill. Great American melting pot. Great American melting pot. Shot heard round the world. Start of a revolution. Every time you come up in here. Take your gun, take your port to General Washington. Oh, look like the second person's back. And they're gone again. Feel free at least to say hi to let me know who it is who's here. Hmm. Anyways, we're just waiting for at least one panelist, hopefully. On New Mesa, where the cowboys roam, everyone wants to go by the code of the West. On Moon Mesa, where the cowboys roam, everyone go by the code of the West. On Moon Mesa, where the cowboys by the code of the West. Anyways, the hell.
And if all of a sudden, if I guess, boy, I'm going to need.
Let's see. Let's see now, what else? Shot heard around the world, start of a revolution. Everyone they know, hey, take your gun, take your port to General Washington. Bye, bye, Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. Them good old boys are getting drunk on whiskey and rye, saying this will be the day that I die. This will be the day that I die. Not again. Oh. Hey, Rick.
Hey, sorry I'm a bit late.
No problem. At least you're here. I'm just waiting on was waiting on some more people. You can go over to the if you haven't gone onto the Facebook, if you can like and share that as well, that will help too. Just waiting to see if a few more people come in. RJ should be here after he's done with his stream.
Oh, that's good. Chat up as usual.
Yeah, so I decided to try to put this, since it's a holiday. I've thought about doing this in the past before, where like on the holidays, like today, just trying to put together some like some panel shows to like try to draw more interest. We had an impromptu one last week where I just kind of threw one together just because I didn't have much to report on. So, but with it being Memorial Day and stuff, I figured we could talk like war comics and cartoons.
Cool.
Yeah. So, go ahead.
Oh, I just said cool. Although here in Canada, it's not Memorial Day.
Yeah, I know. And it would have been funny if like it ended up being like you and Toys, because Toys is also from Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is Memorial Day here in the States, so but I'm sure that even up in Canada, there you probably read your fair share of like war comics or watched your fair share of like war type cartoon, like
I
art.
watched G.I. Joe. Does that count?
Yeah, that would count. GI Joe, which version? Because there have been a number of GI Joe cartoons.
Well,
There's
of
GI Joe
course
the
the original. I've seen a couple episodes of Extreme, although I don't remember them. And then there was another one, Renegades,
yeah,
G.I.
there was
Joe
Renegade.
Renegades, which was a cross between, seemed like a cross between G.I. Joe and the A Team.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
There's another one. Does the A Team count?
that wasn't a cartoon though. That was,
That
but
was live action.
yeah, that was live action. So we're obviously focusing on comics and cartoons, albeit
Well, they did make comic books of A Team.
Oh, they did. I hadn't seen any of them, but
Yeah, there was a few.
hmm. All right, yeah. So
Then I guess other live action war movies don't count.
yeah, but well, so we're 11 minutes into this. As I said, I'm just waiting to see if RJ comes in or not. So,
Yeah, I know. Just like trying to wait for people.
yeah.
Not that
Well,
I wait that
we got
often.
three people in
Usually.
here. Hey, May May. Um, who
I'm
did?
Rick Piper of Cross Comics, and of
Yeah,
course you should know Mike. He hosts it.
yeah. She knows me. She's one of my regulars, or semi regulars. Yeah, we're doing a special panel one today, May May.
Or hopefully.
Yeah, something like not much. We're gonna focus in on like war cartoons and comics today since it's Memorial Day here in the States. I think she's actually from the Caribbean, so I don't know if they celebrate Memorial Day there or not. I don't
Yeah.
know which island it is. If it's like
Oh,
Puerto Rico or something like that, then they might celebrate Memorial Day. But if it's not, then
well,
um,
we do have a 1 day similar, and that's Remembrance Day on November 11th here
yeah.
in Canada.
It's kind of funny though. Your Remembrance Day is so there's a difference here in the states between Memorial Day and Veterans.
Veterans.
Memorial Day is to remember those who lost their lives in defense of the country, whereas Veterans Day is the day we honor all veterans, living and dead,
Yeah.
who fought in the wars. So
Yeah, we
that's
do. We remember both on Remembrance Day.
yeah. So basically, your Remembrance Day is basically more equivalent to our Veterans Day, and it's the
Yeah.
same day too. So, hmm, yeah. But we actually have a separate day called Memorial Day. Now, a lot of people just simply think it's just a holiday just to get together and barbecue and stuff. Not that's a bad thing, but there was an actual reason for it coming into being. So let's see. How unfortunate, because my mother getting laptop parts and still unemployed and also trying to do my project. Oh.
Oh, what's her project?
Um,
Or do you know?
I'm not
Offhand.
off the top of my head. I'm not sure, but I know she's doing some comic book work right now. I just don't know what it is. She hasn't done much promoting on it. I think she's still in the process of getting it created. I think that's a big part of it too. Yeah. Like I'm a bit wary about just throwing the StreamYard link out there because I don't want to risk having people who would come in to disrupt the stream. That's why
Yeah.
I've been like, and that's what RJ's been doing too. It's just he'll send out the link to if people ask. Um, Now, May, if you would like, there's a way. I don't know if you're on Facebook or something like that, but if you have some way I can, send you if you want, I can send you the link if you want to join us in here, if you can give me like some kind of contact information to where if you're on just tell me if you're on Facebook or Discord or something like that, and then I can probably try to send you a link that way. But, and she may have left because now we're back down to 2 people now. So,
Yeah.
but I think it's just you and me. Oh, we're back up to 3 again.
Yeah, YouTube. It's a roller coaster ride.
Yeah, yeah. From what I understand, the only way you get past that is if you have 10 or more people. That's the only way that it'll stay consistent.
Uh,
Now it's saying 1.
well, I know I'm watching. Well, I've got it up on
Oh,
my browser because I went and got the oh well, hey, I pressed like, and then I also pressed the chat so I could have it up
mhm.
because I like to have the chat up no matter what. Usually, whatever channel I'm on.
Mhm. I sent I. Oh boy, not again. My my mouse is giving me. It's like some which is happening on Friday too. Not even sure if I'm pushing anything on it. I guess I don't even need to do that. Because
Oh, right there. Let me
yeah.
share.
It's all right. I'm I'm on Discord, but can't do enough. Though gotta wait it out until laptop. Oh, okay, it's fixed. Okay. Anyways, well,
I'll put a link to it in my chat.
hopefully, yeah. I sent an invite to. I've sent an invite to a number of people. Uh, Chris, Chris and Diane, of course. Lorenzo. So I was hoping to get at least a few people in here, but I'm just still waiting on RJ also to see.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard. It's like pulling teeth, it seems, nowadays, getting people on chat. Well, shouldn't say that. There's some channels that seem to be able to get them on easy enough.
Yeah. Well, I noticed too. Chris didn't do Hero Shack press last week, and he explained to
Yeah,
me last night. He explained to me last night that he and Diane were just too tired. So, I mean, he did schism that I missed. So, yeah. So, anyway, so yeah, you talked. Yeah, it's kind of funny because Hasbro actually has a on YouTube. Hasbro actually has a 24-hour GI Joe channel where they just going through the all like well not every episode but the majority of like the OG GI Joe from back in the 80s.
yeah, a lot of stuff is starting to do that. Like, I know there's the He-Man and She-Ra channel that does that. I think there's a Transformers channel that's doing it.
Hmm. Yeah, I actually saw the Adams Family, the old TV show. They have a 24-hour channel. I haven't watched it, but I've seen the kind of the headline in it. So yeah. So
Yeah,
anyways, how did that happen?
very uncarefully.
Well, yeah, I got my screen. The screen I saw went like, yeah, there was like a shade that went over it, and let's see, love me some GI Joe. Memory seeing it on Cartoon Network. Yeah, I mean, yeah, a lot. And there have been a number of GI Joe. There was GI Joe, the '80s series. That was the original one, and then GI Joe Renegade, GI Joe Extreme. So.
Yeah, and I think there's even been a couple more since then.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
I don't know too much about Extreme, but like I said, I just watched the whole only one
Oh,
season
here
of
we go.
Remedy.
Now we're gonna be cooking.
Now it's a
Hey,
party.
RJ. Now we have 3 people in here. Okay. Ah.
Hey, RJ.
Hey, Rick, how's it going, man?
Good yourself?
Yeah.
Let me see here.
So, and I did try to confirm to see if
That looks
either
better.
of Doc or Chris or anybody else was going to join us, but apparently they won't pick up. So pick up the
Oh,
voicemail. So I did send them
Uh,
more of a text.
Cross, are you frequent on Racket streams? I don't think so. I don't
Nick
know who.
Ricada is who she's talking about.
Oh no, no, no. I think I might be sub to him. I subbed to him a long time ago when he was sort of a big name in the comics thing, and I never really watched him much, so I'm not sure whether I still got him on my subscriptions or not. Every so
yeah,
often I go and clean that out for ones that, I'm
Mhm.
not really watching.
he
And
was
I
on my
thank you
radar a
guys for
lot.
yeah, and I thank you guys for any likes and shares that you may have helped me out with there. Hopefully we can get some more. We have at least 4 people in here now, so that's good. Um, and if more people happen to come into the studio here, I will go ahead and add them in. RJ, you're an admin here, so if there's anybody you think might, again, just be mindful. We don't want like what happened last night, like what happened last night. But if you think there's
Nothing
anybody,
bad happened last night. I didn't even get a copyright claim for any music, so you
oh,
know.
okay, so that's good.
Oh, that's good. Oh,
Well,
it's
I'm
nice.
just talking. Yeah, I'm just talking about like what happened between George and Larry there.
Yeah,
Right.
no problem.
Oh
They're
yeah,
all
May
gone.
May. I've been around a lot in CG over the last 3 years, 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been. I was here before the Antarctic Press deal went south with Richard Meyer, so I've been following it for quite a while. Um,
Antarctic Press, they're still around, aren't they?
they are still around, yes.
It now. Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Antarctic Press? Isn't that the one that Max Devil's a part of?
No, he is his own press. He's Atrocity Press.
Atrocity Press. Okay. Yeah. So I know you've had people on Antarctic Press. It's not just Richard C. Meyer either, but you've had people on. Isn't Larry on?
Yeah,
Larry.
Larry's Niobe books are being published in Exciting Comics in Antarctic, and he's getting his own Niobe Origins one shot through Antarctic. But
Yeah, he was
they've
talking
done
about
a
that
lot of
last night.
yeah, they've done a lot of manga kind of interpretations. They've done Ninja High School, Gold Digger. Um,
Hey Woody, I sent you the StreamYard link via direct message. So if you'd like to join in tonight, you can. I guess now that we do have a few people in here, I guess we can get to what I was going to try to make the panel about, and Rick and I were just talking about GI Joe, like the GI Joe cartoons, like particularly the one back in the '80s. Also, we're talking about how there are a
the real
number of 24-hour YouTube channels that are popping up now about classic like GI Joe for one.
Transformers.
I'm sure.
He-Man. The He-Man one's been around for a while.
Yeah. Adam's Family I saw the other I've been seeing too. That one's they got
oh,
a
the old cartoon.
no, not the old cartoon, the old show, the old live action show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's yeah. So you didn't get a no copyright strike on last night then with the music, huh?
No, no, we didn't. I think we talked over it enough that it wasn't an issue.
Yeah. Hmm. Well, I guess all of George's whining about it really didn't matter.
No, it talked over the music enough to where it was like the algorithm couldn't hear it. Um, yeah, like I said, it wouldn't have mattered either way.
Yeah. Let's see. I found a guy called Cartoons that puts together these really great collections. And I've seen collections Goon cartoons. Goon cartoons. Okay. Um, He-Man and the Masters of the in the two. I don't know if that one. I don't know if the early 2001 is on there, but I think I know. I think what Rick's talking about, the original Filmation cartoon back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Lou Scheimer one.
Yeah, actually, which does actually lead me into something. One of the things I was going to bring up as part of our discussion tonight. RJ, you might have remembered this one because it's a film. It's one of Filmation's properties. Do you remember Mush?
No,
Mangy, mangy, unshaven, shaggy heroes. Mush
that
was.
doesn't sound like it would have lasted long.
I think it only lasted for one season, but it was a part of the Groovy Ghoulies, like Groovy Ghoulies and Friends package show. It was a Filmation property. It was basically a parody of MASH, but you had kind of anthropomorphic dogs as opposed to people.
Humans?
Yeah, they were like Alaskan rescue dogs. You know, the dogs are sent up with the barrels around their throat.
St.
Yeah,
Bernard's?
I'm seeing the cartoon clips now here on YouTube. Um, okay, that's a thing. I had never seen it before.
Wow.
I thought because I know you know
Seen
a bit
it, never
more
even
about.
heard of it.
Well, it's okay. So I know it because I think in the late 70s, early 80s, Filmation came out with a package show that had a bunch of their 70s cartoons on it. It was called Groovy Ghoulies and Friends, right? Now, of course, the main stars were the Groovy Ghoulies, from the Groovy Ghoulies and Sabrina show. Okay, but they had on there as well. They had like Lassie and the Rescue Rangers, you know, the new Gilligan's Island, um, the Secret
Gilligan's
Lives of
Planet.
Waldo Kitty, Frady Cat, Wacky and Packy, Mush, a number of them. You know,
Yeah,
my favorite Martian cartoon. So it was a bunch of, and that's how I knew it. And
yeah. When I talked with Lou Scheimer, gosh, almost 15 years ago now. Obviously before he died, I didn't meet him afterwards. He talked about the Groovy Ghoulies show, and that it was on the importance of market research, because they put out the Groovy Ghoulies and then found out that it was quite the joke in the UK, because over here it was like, well, ghouls, yeah, and they're ghoulies because they're groovy and we want it to kind of rhyme. In the UK, ghoulies are testicles.
so
Ooh, that one went over well.
Yeah, they were the groovy testicles. It was sort of like when Chevrolet marketed the Nova in Mexico, it didn't sell well because Nova was Spanish for Nova. It doesn't go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My favorite
you
Martian.
gotta love how all these words mean something different in a different language.
Yes, that's
Hey,
why
Code 66, we're Code 66 Gaming. We're doing a bit of a panel show tonight instead of just news, with it being Memorial Day and stuff like that. So yeah, Woody actually Filmation made a cartoon based on My Favorite Martian television show.
I
So
did not know that. My mom probably. My mom, she liked the show. Never. She probably doesn't know about the cartoon.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, it was like a lot of them. It didn't last long, and then of course the new Gilligan's Island spun off to Gilligan's Planet, as I recall. Tomorrow anniversary of Jonestown flood, huh?
Now,
So
what would have been a good crossover? Gilligan's Island and Planet with Josie and the Pussycats in outer space.
yeah,
yeah, that one, yeah. Well, similar animation styles, Hanna-Barbera and Filmation. I mean, those are the two. If you think about it, those were the two main powers in the 70s. There, Filmation and Hanna-Barbera.
Now, what's interesting is the My Favorite Martian cartoon.
Mhm.
Do you know who it was that voiced Uncle Martin in the cartoon? Because it wasn't Ray Winston.
Wasn't Bill Bixby?
Wasn't well? Bill Bixby was not the human character, and Ray Winston was not the. Am I saying that right? Ray Winston. The actor was not the same actor that played the live action Martian, but it is a name actor who played Uncle Martin in the cartoon.
I don't know.
I have a clue.
I could look it up, but I don't know it off the top of my head because it's been
It
a while
was
since.
Jonathan Harris.
Jonathan Harris.
Jonathan Harris, Dr. Smith. Oh, the pain, the pain.
Oh, the original Dr. Smith.
The original Dr. Smith from Lost in Space.
Okay. Well, no wonder I wouldn't know then because I never watched Lost in Space.
Oh,
Uh,
see, now,
I've seen a bit of some episodes. I would actually like to watch the original, but I've watched the movie, and I've watched the new series.
You went away from us, RJ. Was there a reason, or
yeah, I got to kill something.
and you just didn't want us to see you kill it?
But now we know he killed something.
Yeah. 'Cause we heard-
He had to kill his drink.
Is it Ray Walton or Ray Walton?
Ray Walston. Yeah, Ray Walston was the original live action actor. Also, Mr. Hand in Fast Time from Richmond.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, Ray Walston, I think he went on later to play Judge Henry Bone on Picket Fences.
Yes. Yeah, he did a lot of great roles.
So, let's see, Woody's saying here, Walton, oh my goodness, I loved Lost in Space. I was totally exactly the same age as
Bill Mummy.
Bill Mummy. And then
And
And
his
actually-
daughter wanted to be an actor. Lily Mummy is in stuff.
do you think the universe has an edge? No, I don't. I think.
And actually,
huh?
I was
Go
just
ahead,
going to
Rick.
say Bill Mummy went to play in what's the name of it? Another sci-fi series, Babylon 5.
Yeah, he'd show up there once in a while. He used to show up at comic book conventions as his band. His band would show up and play the comic book convention nightly parties.
Yeah.
I can't remember his band.
Yeah. Anyways, and I know some of the characters and comics I'm about to mention here, might sound unfamiliar to Rick, but I'm sure some of them will. Some of the characters and comics I'll be referring to here, real quick here. RJ, you may have heard of, like Sergeant Rock.
I've heard of him.
The haunted tank.
Heard of it.
Johnny Cloud.
Yep.
That I have.
Navajo Ace.
Huh?
The Navajo Ace, Johnny Cloud.
Yeah. Enemy Ace.
Heard of that.
Baron von Richter.
Yeah. Madame Moswell. What is that?
Mademoiselle Marie.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Madame Moswell Marie.
Yeah. She was the leader of the Vichy Underground.
Mm-hmm. In DC Comics, and she had a feature that lasted for a few months in Star Spangled.
She also was a love interest of a young Alfred Pennyworth.
Yeah, in Post Crisis. Yeah.
Yes.
Also, you know what's funny, guys? Original CN shows cartoons with anime
Cameo.
with cameo of HP. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Like Harvey Birdman did a lot of that.
Yeah, Peter Potamus would walk in and say, "Did you get the thing that I sent you?"
Yeah, and then what about the one episode where Apache Chief spilled coffee on his lap, and and basically he couldn't grow for. Of course, they were trying to pull the old double entendre on that one. And then there's the very, I don't know, necro idea of Avenger carrying around the corpse of Scrappy Doo too.
Yes.
I've seen a few of those episodes. I never got into watching it regularly, but I saw some of those episodes. But yeah,
Oh, what are you saying that Bill Mumy and Penny Robinson, the actress, had they had a Greg and Marcia thing going on? You're saying? That was,
A fling?
yeah, fling. Yeah. So interesting. I will say that in the Innovation comics, it seemed like they were being very edgy with that because if you are lost in space and you are the last 5 humans alive, and your pilot and the older sister are already hooked up, the little brother and the little sister will eventually repopulate.
yeah, but yeah, but the thing is too, even if you're, the problem then becomes, if you are, let's say, the last 5 humans there, and
Yeah.
I mean, if you have 2 kids and then you have one other adult, um, it's
Well,
it,
Robinson said
it could
3
be
kids.
problematic. It could be problematic on a number of things.
Yeah,
Not just
and
because-
they were kind of skirting the edge of that because in the Innovation comics, the kids were older. They'd been lost in space for a while.
I've never seen the comics for the Lost in Space.
They had gorgeous painted covers.
Well, eventually we might get there on my show. It may be a while, but I don't even know
Another
when.
50 years at least.
Huh?
Another 50 years. They came out in the 80s.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm still back in 1939. And of course, RJ, you're going to be helping me out on Friday as my co-host, right?
That's right. I will be there.
Yeah. So.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, and we'll just try to do what I tried to do Friday before the issues came up I was having. But
Well, Friday I probably won't be tuning in because Friday I'm going to Niagara Falls Comic Con
okay.
here in Canada, and I'm gonna get my picture taken with the infamous William Shatner.
Infamous. Why would you say infamous?
Just me.
Depends
Oh
on
yeah, I know. I know about his very public feud with George Takei too. Sure, we all know.
Apparently he's feuded with over half of the original cast. He had him. I don't think him and Nichelle Nichols. I don't think are talking. Him and Doohan weren't talking before thing. Although apparently he did have a little beef here and there with Nimoy. I've heard, but
Well, at least from an ideological standpoint, what I would gather is, I would think well, at least from what it would appear from an ideological standpoint, not that we need to get into too deep into this aspect of it, but as compared to many of the other I would say that Shatner is probably more right leaning or conservative, whereas many of the other cast members were probably left leaning, or more liberal.
Shatner has reached that age where he doesn't give a poop anymore about what he says online. And he will come out and, you mention his name, you may get a tweet back from him.
yeah.
Well, the one thing, and it's more a character with Captain Kirk, that I guess would grab me was Captain Kirk's favorite president was Abraham Lincoln. Growing up, he was my favorite president too. So, so that's something that me and Captain Kirk have in common. And speaking of course of Star Trek, I don't know if you guys knew this, but Chris Doohan, who was James Doohan's son, actually portrayed the role of Scotty in Vic Mignogna's Star Trek Continue series.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
The entire cast of the original Star Trek series came back to do the voice for the animated Star Treks with Filmation.
all but one. I think there was one who didn't.
Nimoy?
No, I think it was.
Nimoy came.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Walter Koenig, I believe.
Yeah, because the only reason I thought Leonard Nimoy, because I know there was once upon a time he had a a book out, not a biography or something like that. It's called "I Am Not Spock,"
Yes, and he followed that up with a second biography called
saying
"I
"I
Am
Am."
Spock."
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Were you
But
were you looking up who was who? Were you just looking up who wasn't who didn't
I,
provide a voice on the animated
I
series?
did not. I did not, but I
Oh, I
can.
thought you said you were, but I thought it was Walter Koenig who played Ensign Chekhov.
Yeah.
But I'll find out. It's
Hey, toys.
I mean, even
Although,
Major Barrett came back for it.
yeah, although that is not canon, unfortunately.
Well, it's not now, but it used to be. It used to be considered that anything that aired or was anything that aired on television was supposed to be canon. Anything that was published by Paramount was canon. Now it's like, maybe not.
Well,
Um,
I've heard for like 20 years plus that wasn't canon.
Well,
So
they had a whole bunch of other alien species they brought onto the crew too that you couldn't really do at the time of the original Star Trek.
yeah,
yeah. Well, they just got rid of Chekhov entirely in the cast. So yeah, he didn't come back and so they just didn't do his character. Lou Scheimer did some of the voices, as did Norm Prescott and Ted Knight.
Well, Lou Scheimer did a number of voices throughout all of his productions. He would usually do some of the more well. He had some more serious voices too, but he'd do a lot of the like I remember from He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. He provided the voices of King Randor, Orko, Attack Track, I believe
Yeah.
Trapjaw, Triclops. In She-Ra, he was Cal. Montana, Leech, Grizzlor.
a lot of voices there.
Yeah.
Roger Carmel came back as Harry Mudd, and that series got them an Emmy for the cartoon series. And Lou was telling me, it's like, he didn't want to poo-poo the fact that they got an Emmy, but he was always disappointed with the fact that the first Emmy didn't come from Fat Albert
The
and the Cosby
original.
Twins.
Oh yeah, Fat Albert. Hey, hey, hey.
Yeah, he thought they should have got the Emmy for that because of what it was doing for inner city youth.
Yeah.
Giving representation. Even then, representation was a thing, and it was being done right.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it wasn't like they were doing it within its proper context and weren't trying to shove it down your throat.
Yeah.
Trying to make you feel like if
Yeah.
if you weren't this, then you were it's almost like a reverse form of racism with all this diversity talk. But yeah, so. And then, of course, I did talk about some of the DC and some quality property. Well, actually, let's see. From the quality comics, you had like Uncle Sam, you had Blackhawks.
Yeah.
Of course, at least a couple that I remember from a couple of
Howling Commandos, was that DC or was that Marvel?
That was Marvel. Howling.
Nick Fury's Howling Commandos, and of course, the best wartime hero of them all, Captain America.
When Captain America throws his mighty shield.
I've always said the thing that you need to do to sell Captain America is have another war. To sell Captain America, you have to have another war, because he's that kind of a character. He's
a super soldier.
Yeah, but he's also propaganda. See, when
you have to have to get a new Captain America. I think you'd have to have another.
Yeah, I mean, when we were at war in the Middle East back in 2001, if I was writing Captain America, every issue would have been him busting in on Taliban strongholds and finding a Taliban super agent to be.
Or at that point, they want to hand the mantle off. You create a new Captain America that fights in that war.
Well, I it's kind of funny because after DC got the rights to Uncle Sam from Quality Comics, if I remember correctly, one of the things they did with Uncle Sam is they put him as part of a lineage of kind of superhuman soldiers over the time. It's like he started, because he was, he had the talisman of America, and he was the spirit of America. So what they tried to argue was that Uncle Sam was actually a reincarnation of earlier. It's like he was like um, the Minuteman back during the Revolutionary War, and then he was Brother Jonathan in 1812, and then he was like split into two as Johnny Reb and let's see, Billy and Johnny, Johnny Reb and Billy. I don't know, but for the Civil War, and then
Billy Yank, yeah,
what was that?
Billy Yank.
Billy Yank, yeah, Billy Yank. That's who it was. And then of course, Uncle Sam during World War II, and then he was a patriot in the '90s during the Gulf War. So
Yeah, and then they did that horrible 2-issue Vertigo series, painted by Alex Ross, where they just had him just be this total schizophrenic, oh my God, our country's lost, kind of, homeless bum. So Uncle Sam was a homeless bum, hallucinating things.
Well, that
yeah,
doesn't
and
sound good.
I've read some of Uncle Sam's features from Quality, and they were pretty interesting. I mean, granted, Quality Comics back then took some liberties when it came to I guess on Earth Quality or Earth X, whatever you want. Well, okay, Earth X and Earth Quality are two different. Earth Quality, basically, history was kind of more or less correct, just with the quality characters. Earth X was kind of took the alternative where instead of the Allies winning the war, the Axis won the war.
Yeah, Earth X, the Freedom Fighters actually left Earth S on purpose to go to Earth X and help liberate it. The rest of Earth S, which was, of course, the Shazam family,
Yeah.
Bulleteer, Spy Smasher, all of those characters, they stayed on Earth S.
Well, they also had a super soldier type character, Minuteman, who was like a secondary tertiary feature in trying to remember what the anthology title was. It was not Nickel Comics. Oh, Master Comics. That's the one I was thinking of.
Master Comics, where Captain Marvel Jr. usually started.
Yeah, Captain Marvel Jr. was the lead feature on Master Comics, and then Bullet Man was the primary backup, and then after him was Minuteman. They actually had a Minuteman.
Oh, Woody's referring to Ted Knight, the reference we made that he did voice in Star Trek. One of the stories, by the way, I'm just as an aside there, because Ted Knight did so much voice work for Filmation. When Filmation first set up, they had no money, they had no studio, they just had space. They put a mannequin in the front office in the receptionist chair, just to look like somebody was sitting there, because they had Elliot S. Magan was coming to visit from DC looking for animators to do the Superman cartoon, and they wanted it. So they hired actors to sit at all the artist stations and look like they were busy, so that Elliot would see, look, you're really, really busy. And Ted Knight was one of the actors. And they said, hey, when we, stop at your place, your job is to come around and say, hey, Lou, we're running out of, acetone for this thing. And as Elliot was walking through, he was just in such a hurry that he passed right by. And Ted, being the actor that Ted was, wanted to get his line in. And he chases them down. He's like, hey, Lou, we're out of acetone, Lou. Okay, we got it covered, Ted.
Well, yeah, Ted Knight, as you said, did do a number of voices for Filmation. He was the narrator in Black Manta in the Aquaman series. Actually, I think he did narration for a number of the cartoons. But hey, Mr. Yanafui, Ted Knight, I thought you were talking about
Same name.
Starman.
Yeah.
Same name.
I wonder if that's on purpose.
Well,
or
we're
not.
talking about the actor Ted Knight, but
yeah, you know what? Now I want somebody
actor. There was a comic book character named Ted Knight who was Starman, from
But
DC
now I need some artist I need to commission an artist to draw Ted Knight in the Starman costume, holding his helmet in one hand and an issue of Cosmic Cow in the other. I need that to happen.
Cosmic. Oh yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. The Cosmic Cow. That was like the comic strip that his character on Too Close for Henry Rush did.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. That's
Too
what.
Close for Comfort, which I think ran in the '80s. There, Ted Knight with also co-starring Nancy Dussault, Deborah Van Wiedenberg, and I think Janet. Okay, I might be slightly
And
wrong.
let's not forget Monroe.
Audrey Meadows.
No, Monroe, the
Oh yeah, Jim J. Bullock.
Yeah, the guy who was always driving him crazy. Yes, and the narcissistic newscaster on the Mary Tyler Moore Show, where he also got to say, "Hey Lou, hey Lou."
Yeah. Yeah. So let's see. Let me see. I'm just trying. I'm trying to think of what more to bring up here because, let's see. What else should we?
What's that show? I think another Ted Knight. Guy that had his own show. I forget the road guy's name.
Oh yeah, what something else that just crossed my mind that I was thinking about earlier today. Preparing for the show a little bit here mentally. I remember Sergeant Rock's debut because I had actually read both. I'd read the synopsis a few times on that one. RJ, do you remember in his first published appearance who Sergeant Rock beat up?
Oh no, I don't remember who he beat up.
The Iron Major.
I would have figured that because that was always his recurring. That was the only closest they came to like a super villain in the Sergeant Rock was the Iron Major was a Nazi major who had an iron hand prosthetic.
Yeah, well, apparently in his first published appearance, there was a case where he actually got into a fist fight with him and beat him up. Actually defeated him that way.
Yeah, Sergeant Rock, I don't remember which issue it was, but it was a backup story, was also where Jim Ballant, who went on to do Catwoman, got his first published work. So if you're one of those first appearance of artist kind of guys, go look up your Sergeant Rocks and see if you got him in there.
Are you looking up something there, Rick, or what?
Yeah, trying to look up Ted Knight, but I could have sworn he had a show in the 80s, but it's not really.
Well, yeah, he had that Too Close for Comfort where he was a comic book artist.
Well, it's not showing anything past 1980 films for him. Caddyshack, when he was in that.
Yeah.
Are you looking up on IMDb or?
No, this is the Wikipedia.
Wikipedia. Yeah. They may not always have all the information there, but
yeah, I mean he went from the Mary Tyler Moore Show. He did additional voices in Captain Caveman and the Teen Angels. He had the Ted Knight Show. Caddyshack was on the Love Boat a lot. And then Too Close for Comfort was his last series before he died.
Yeah.
He died. In fact, the show went on through 1987 because they had him in the can. He died August 26th of 1986 at 62 years old.
Yeah. Oh, 86? Okay, I thought it would have been a little later than that, but I thought I might have heard about him.
Too Close.
Too Close for Comfort would have probably been his last show then, if that's the case. I mean,
yeah, it's his last credited appearances.
Oh yeah, that is it. I recognize the other guy. I forget his name.
Not the guy I would have expected to voice the Penguin, but he did that for the Scooby-Doo meets Batman cartoon. fact, he did that for a lot of the New Adventures of Batman. If it was the Penguin, it was Ted Knight, and I think the Joker was the guy who was on Eight Is Enough. I'd have to look that up to be sure.
Yeah, August 26, 1986. So Too Close for Comfort would have been his last show. See, as I was saying though, let's see. Let's see. So, just look.
Oh, he did a voice in the Star Trek animated series too.
Yeah,
Well, that's not really a big surprise considering he did a lot of work for. In fact, I think he was also the narrator for the original Super Friends cartoon too. Now that I think about it.
Meanwhile, back at the Hall of Justice.
Yeah, the 1973 one, the one that had Wendy and Marvin in it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, Nancy Dussault, Deborah Van Walkenberg, and Lydia Cornell, and Jim J. Bullock. Those are the main five for Too Close for Comfort.
Yeah, he did 2 voices in Super Friends. The narrator, and he was the Flash.
Yeah. On the 73 one, because Jack Angel went in would do the Flash in the later versions of Super Friends. Yeah, so let's see. Captain America, Howling Commandos from Marvel. And then there were some interesting titles too. Now, granted, as I said, I know primarily most of the ones from DC and the companies that DC bought. Like a lot of the one, like there was actually Quality did military comics before it became modern comics. That was the anthology home for the Blackhawks. That was an interesting one, albeit today those stories there'd probably be some people be having fits about some of those stories because of Chop Chop. How they depicted Chop Chop there in the original Blackhawk stories from back in the 40s there. You had GI Combat from Quality Comics. You had from DC. You had Star Spangled War stories, which started out Star Spangled Comics and Star Spangled Men of War, or no, All American Men of War, which was all started out All American Comics and All American. At 64, I have hearing. I hate hearing about people dying at 62.
Yeah, at 55, I'm not so crazy about it myself.
Yeah.
Guys, did you hear Captain America with Reaver? With what?
It's Reed, not here.
Oh. With Rebirth, that's what it looks like to me, but Reaver and the artist John
Cassidy.
After 9/11, the beginning of
was
it was off to a good start, but it eventually went to crap. it just did.
Yeah. Let's see. We're at 59 minutes now. RJ.
Yes.
What were some of the I don't know if you did read war comics growing up. What are some of the comics and some of the features you remember reading growing up? War comics wise. What are some of the ones you remember growing up?
I read all of them. All of them. I read Our Fighting Forces. I read Our Army at War. I read Unknown Soldier, which I loved because he was like, he just became anybody he wanted to be, but except himself because he always had to wear the bandages.
Unknown Soldier, which started out as another title and then eventually became Unknown Soldier.
Yeah. A lot of them sprung out. Weird War Tales, GI Robot, Creature Commandos, the War That Time Forgot. All that stuff was out there and so much fun. The Losers, which was
the Losers was a very interesting story. You had these guys who they were looked at as losers. I'm gonna step away from the computer for a few minutes, over a couple minutes here, but so you guys, if you guys can entertain the crowd while I'm gone, I'll be right back.
Entertain? I'm not sure whether we can do that.
I think
We
you
can
know
do
what I mean.
Yeah, put on the song and dance here. See, Mr. Yanafu, yeah, Sergeant Rock was like the best, and he had such. What the thing that made Sergeant Rock interesting was Easy Company, because it was such a varied array of soldiers. You had Bulldozer, which was this big hulking soldier, and he could lift a lot. You had Ice Cream Soldier, who was he had a daisy in his helmet. He was just easygoing guy. Wild Man. The only time I ever saw a soldier with a beard like mine, except it was red, he didn't shave. He just wore a full beard out in because he was like, we're fighting people. And I think he just kind of showed up from the bush. He's like, I'm joining your company. And there he was. Yeah, just a bunch of different characters that were there that made, and each story would sometimes focus on one of them. Hey, Woody, Marmalade's going to show back up again soon. I've got, if I can't do the ventriloquist thing with him, then I've got this little thing here. This is a lime green Spider-Man suit, head to toe, complete face, full coverage. So if I wear that and I start using Marmalade with green screen turned on, you won't see me. I'll be doing my John Cena impersonation.
So, what happened with Marmalade that he can't come via puppet?
Oh, he can. It's just that the area here is so small. He used to do interviews, and he will do them again. But I had like a black screen off to my left here, and I would just reach through it and set him on a shelf. But because my arm was bent like this the whole time, it just got to where it was painful on here. To do an hour with him like that was incredibly hard. Just do a half hour was.
I can bet that.
So when I move out of here, I'm going to, I'm going to basically rent a whole house because I'll have the finances back once I'm not paying for the other full house in St. Louis. But I'll do the studio correctly the way the Hensons did it, where I'll be reaching up like this, and the camera will be 7 feet off the ground, and it'll be a lot easier to do puppeteering correctly. Unless he's going to sit on my lap and sing with me, in which case we just do the ventriloquist thing again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And Mike's back.
Yeah, I'm back. I just had to step away for a moment.
That's all right. We let you step away this time. Not that we could do anything otherwise.
What are you trying to do there, Rick? Are you trying to do an Artie Johnson impersonation there?
I don't know.
Stink.
I don't know who I.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Artie Johnson actually came back and did a voice on Justice League Unlimited in the 2000s there.
Who did he do? Because it would have been one of the offbeat characters.
Yeah, I think his character. He was one of the guys from Apocalypse.
He was. I know who he was now. Dang it, I can't remember. Baron Bedlam.
Yeah, I think that might have been it. I don't know if it was. Yeah, might have been him.
Because Darkseid had this general kind of character.
I guess I could look it up real quick because I.
It was his Nazi character, but it wasn't Baron Bedlam. It was Vermin Wunderbar.
That's who it was. Yeah.
Vermin Wunderbar. Okay.
Are we the baddies?
When Darkseid had been kind of quote unquote obliterated or whatever, Vermin Wunderbar and Granny Goodness had tried to take over. Yeah.
And the genius casting of JLU was that Granny Goodness was voiced by Ed Asner. That was chef's kiss perfect.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those rare occasions where you actually get a man with with a tenor or deeper voice to voice a woman.
Because
The
Granny
other,
deserved it. Granny was that kind.
yeah, I mean, the other way around is more common, where you actually get, um, women. You sometimes will get women to voice prepubescent boys in a lot of like cartoons and animes.
Been happening with Bart Simpson and Ben 10 for years.
Yeah, Nancy Cartwright, but among the some of the actresses we would have known growing up would have included like, um, Mona Marshall for one. Um, well, okay, some of the anime ones like Mona Marshall, Brienne Shadal. Let's see.
June Foray.
Huh, who?
June Foray.
Well, June Foray. Yeah, that was another one who did
Rocky the Flying Squirrel.
Rocky and Tweety Bird.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Cut a top, put it tat. I did.
Never was sure whether Tweety was a boy or a girl anyway. But
Yeah.
Well, I think they did confirm that Tweety was a boy bird, even though you would argue that with the eyelashes, he seemed more like a girl bird. But I think they actually did confirm in the cartoon that Tweety was a boy, because I think there was at least one cartoon where they actually had Tweety fall in love, and it was with a girl.
oh, look at this. Woody's brought it all the way back around to Lost in Space again. Nancy Cartwright, her little sister Angela Cartwright, played Penny Robinson. It's a small acting community, really.
Yeah.
Or it was, Now I think TV back then was a lot smaller. Now it's a lot bigger.
It's amazing to think that The Simpsons has been going on for, what, 40 years now almost?
Well, let's see. Well, they debuted on the Tracy Ullman as a segment on the Tracy Ullman show back in late '87. I think it was maybe or maybe early late '80s. I think it might have been '87. They actually debuted as their own show too.
Yeah, because I was living in Chicago. I remember watching the Tracy Ullman.
That would have been 35 years ago. And just think of that. Bart's been 10 years old for 35 years.
Yeah. That's
Okay,
an amazing
I mean,
time.
That's a lot of childhood.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about cartoons, though. It's like, and even though Pokemon is still technically considered an anime, you have kind of the same thing with Ash, where he's basically still 10 years old, even after the 25, 26 years that's been around. So,
Well, in almost all the old cartoons, those kids never grew up.
Archie was in high school for 80 years now.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the same in the comics too, isn't it? Now I know there have been some comics that have, like I remember seeing one the other day, and it would have been one of the ones I hit up on this past Friday's Niche History had I not had the technical issues. But Archie Married Betty was a digital one that came out back in 2017.
Yeah, that was.
Well, they did Archie marries Veronica and Archie marries Betty.
Yeah, they did this weird science fiction thing where it was like they went ahead and let the adult Archie marry both of them in separate timelines. But as you followed both the books along, there were hopovers. Something was going on there, and Dilton Doily was the only one aware of it. And as it converged back into the timeline again, it converged just at the point where Archie gets shot trying to save Kevin Keller from being assassinated before his political campaign. And all you see at the very end of it is Betty and Veronica leaning over them, and he says, "I've always loved you." And you never know which one he was talking to. And he literally really does die. And they do this, life without Archie afterwards for a couple of years.
Yeah, Mr. Yanafu, I think, was just saying 33 seasons. So I think the series itself came in 1989 then, and then it debuted as a segment on the Tracy Ullman Show in '87.
And the Tracy Ullman Show went nowhere.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's one of those situations where a show debuted or something debuted as a segment on one show. That show bonds, but the segment ends up being a huge success. It's like that was kind of interesting there.
Well, they're not quite as old, but two other cartoons I think that have gone pretty long too is uh, South Park and what's the one? Peter something with Peter.
It's Family Guy.
Yeah, Family Guy.
Yeah.
I never got the appeal to Family Guy. I was too grossed out by it every time I tried to watch it. But
Well, King of the Hill's been around for a while too.
yeah, which was
Yeah,
a spinoff of Beavis and Butthead.
are they still
Oh,
making
King of the Hill is a
cartoons
spin-off of
for
Beavis
King
and
of the
Butthead?
Hill?
I was aware Daria was a spin-off of Beavis and Butthead, but not King of the Hill.
Not necessarily a spinoff, but Hank Hill is definitely Mr. Anderson from Beavis and Butthead.
Oh. More like an inspiration then.
Yeah, I'm same voice actor and everything. So Mike Judge created both characters.
Yeah.
Something about
Well, I
them boys.
remember Daria was pretty interesting. Of course, Daria, the way it was in the '90s, would probably be having a lot of SJWs throwing fits right now because there was a lot of stereotypical behavior in that.
A lot of cartoons in that have stereotypical, even TV shows have stereotypical behavior because
Stereotypes
people,
work because,
they're funny sometimes.
yeah, and they're true. that's
Yeah,
that's why they become stereotypes, because they're largely true.
yeah, they've come from somewhere, you
Mhm.
know. Yeah, sure, not 100% of people act that way, but we as humans, we like to get in our ruts of doing things.
Yeah, and patterns emerge.
Hmm.
So, where are the good war comics today? I mean, is it just because World War II is so old now that it's no longer a viable genre for comics?
It might be, I would theorize that because most of the people who would have been involved in, well, I would almost guarantee anybody who was involved in World War One. I think almost everybody who was involved in World War One is probably already passed on. There may only be a small handful of people left
Oh, World
who
War
are
One
even still,
definitely. There's only a few World War II left.
yeah.
But
But
we don't really have any comic books about the Iraq War. We had, I think the last one we really had was the Nam from Marvel.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that
Um,
one, that one was I think 2000, wasn't it? Or because
DC did bring out some war comics. I don't know, about 10 years ago. They did the Unknown Soldier for a bit. I'm not sure what war he was fighting in, but or even if he was fighting in a war necessarily. And I think they did the Haunted Tank and all that, or some other GI Robot or whatever. A bunch of.
GI Robot was the best.
But like I said, I think about 10 years ago, DC did some stuff. I read them. Like they were part of the reboot, the New 52 reboot.
Okay.
So I read them for a while till they stopped doing them. But
my guess is they're probably going to stay away from like World War II comics or anything like that because I think it's one of those things. You know what they say, right, about the idea of those who forget history are doomed to repeat it. And,
yeah,
a lot of the thing is, a lot of these SJWs don't. I think on some level they don't like the whole aspect of World War II. They think, okay, that was the war. Hitler was involved in everything associated with Hitler, good or bad. You know, is evil. I think
Yeah.
that's kind of their mindset.
We need to quit talking about anything Hitler did, because it stops us from doing the same thing. Oh, did I say that out loud?
Well, I used his name out loud, so
I know. They like to use a lot of his tactics for not liking him. So.
mhm.
I think Woody brings up a good point there. There's not much drama to be found in the Iraq War. It was all about bombing tanks on the ground with total air superiority.
Mhm.
Yeah, and nobody was really shooting the planes down because they didn't have the capability. What do you where is the tension in that? It's like, all right, we found them again. Okay, we got a Scud missile. Yep, middle missile was literally like a few lines of code away from just stopping at the door, opening up the nose cone, extending a little ratcheted hand, going knock 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 knock, and waiting for them to open it before going in and blowing up. They were just that targeted, that well
And
made.
and the French Foreign Legion on a few occasions has been depicted in the comics too, because I know early on, even before Superman's debut, um, there was a character Wing Brady who was a pilot for the French Foreign Legion, and then of course during the superhero surge in the late 30s, early 40s, Quality Comics came out with Neon the Unknown, who was initially a part of the French Foreign Legion, that he was declared a deserter, you know. But what had happened was he had been exposed to some form of radiation in which he had gained neon radiation powers. Uh,
Everything could be a superpower back then. It's like, what do you do? I light up. I'm a neon. I'm a neon sign.
Yeah, well, they're at that point too today. Look at the X-Men.
Oh,
Uh,
what's your superpower? Having to get to choose my family. Um, and that was literally what they were saying was, it's she's so super because she shows what it's like to get to choose your family. I'm like, that's not that's not going to drive the fear of God into Magneto in battle. It's like,
yeah,
it's like, you can do nothing to me. Oh yeah, I have
that
chosen them as my family.
that sounds like
yeah.
an SJW story.
Good
Is it one of
riddance to you
the
too.
SJW writers who wrote that?
Probably. Uh, it wasn't something that I was compelled to read. Um, I forget. She had a horrible costume too. She had like this, jumpsuit with pouches, a belt of pouches. I'm like, okay.
Woody says he
Well, of
remembers
course.
the knock knock bomb from the old Warrior Brothers
Yeah,
cartoon.
that's exactly what the Scud missiles were. Almost that.
As I was talking about, you had Neon the Unknown. You actually had Phantom Lady, who actually had a neon ray gun. You know, um, and then when DC had bought up the Quality characters, they made Sandra Knight, aka Phantom Lady, and Ted Knight cousins. Starman.
Yes,
Um,
which wasn't a bad idea. I mean, they had the same name, so take advantage of it.
It's always about cousins with DC.
Superman and Supergirl.
Martian Manhunter, Miss Martian, although not real cousins, but they said they were.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, if you've ever taken the time to read Larry Niven's All the Myriad Ways, um, which goes into great detail about how and why Superman and Lois Lane could never have a baby, and yet we have Jonathan Kent. I kind of wish Larry Niven had won out now.
Well, we have several different versions where they've had a kid or two.
Yeah,
Like Lois
yeah,
and Kirk,
but
they've had two
it
kids.
would have been very difficult for them to have a child because, the act of Superman performing in his
Manly
enhanced
duties.
way, if he had tried to engage in intercourse with Lois, would have more than likely killed her.
yes, that was what Larry Niven was basically saying. Of course, he was dealing with the Silver Age Superman, so there wasn't none of this. 16 years of exposure to solar radiation has finally built up enough of a charge where I'm super. This was back in the days when we had Super Baby. Back when it was fun. Back when comics were a hoot. And we still took them seriously.
Well, it's kind of funny because when I was when I was doing my research with the DC comic line and all the associated properties that they would buy up, I remember when I did start getting, in the 50s and into the early 60s before I kind of pooped out, as it were. Um, I remember some of the comic I started reading there that I liked, just as much as the regular superhero comic, were some of the slice of life ones, like like Superman's girlfriend Lois Lane, Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen. Some those ones were pretty cool to read too. Even though
Oh yeah,
they weren't, they were more slice of life, and Superman was more of a supporting character in those. But that was actually kind of a cool thing to look at and read over and just see how that all processed. Um,
they even used to do a backup feature called the Private Life of Clark Kent, where it was him dealing with his neighbors and things, and he still had his superpowers, but he wasn't switching identities to take care of stuff. He was just being Clark.
Yeah, it's trying to. How do I use my superpowers without getting noticed as
yeah.
Clark Kent?
Yeah,
Well, it's kind of funny, even like I don't know, 15, 20 years even before, or okay, no, I think it'd been more like, yeah, maybe about 20 years, 20 or so years even before Superman's girlfriend Lois Lane, um, in the mid 40s there for a while there for a few issues in the Superman comic, the actual Superman comic, um,
Yeah,
they had a feature in there. Was usually the middle feature. They had three features in there. Two of them were Superman, and the one in the middle was Lois Lane Girl Reporter. They did that, and then in the Batman title, they did the same thing with the Adventures of Alfred. Now, Alfred in the Golden Age, of course, was depicted more as kind of he wasn't slender. He wasn't the slick, slender butler that we know of today. That we more or less know of today.
no, he
yeah. They
didn't know
hadn't.
his secret identity until he figured it out himself.
Yeah.
They didn't really give him a backstory. I think at that point he was just
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean,
Batman's butler.
well,
Yeah, and
he
he
was an
showed
actor
up.
at that point. He was an actor. He did have a slight backstory, but it wasn't. They didn't really delve into that backstory too deeply.
Yeah,
So
No,
he had never
he
worked
was an
for MI.
actor.
Yeah, he had never worked for MI6 or anything like that.
yeah, and the that actor background carried over with Alfred Pennyworth into the Silver Age. He was an actor, which is why that's where Bruce Wayne learned all his makeup tricks from to become like Matches Malone and other undercover characters.
Well, that was post crisis. So pre crisis, I think he actually did meet up with somebody else to teach him all that, didn't
Yeah,
he?
yeah. Post crisis. Yeah, I think he did. Well, that's when he was traveling the world to get all these skills.
Yeah, uh, I don't know. I like the idea that he got some of it from Alfred. Now there's the whole Gotham one too, where he got everything from Alfred. It's like, oh,
Oh
I
yeah.
can teach you. Like,
Well,
Woody has a very interesting comment here. It's so sad that comic book plots were so much smarter 50 years ago or 30 years ago. Yeah.
well, they
yeah,
were.
Well, that's what a lot of people though have issues with today. That the story, from the mainstream comics, storytelling sucks. I think that's why George and James had such a problem with me even bringing up that story from last night. That's not well, it is news. You know, just because you don't want like Amber Heard and Johnny Depp is news, just because we don't want to, you know,
Give it oxygen.
doesn't mean that it's not news. You know.
it's not important news.
Yeah.
No, but there's a philosophy of yeah, the mainstream comics suck. Let's quit talking about them and giving them oxygen, and they'll go away. They're not going to go away, and they're not going to change if you don't express your displeasure, and all people get to hear is how great is from the people who think it's great. The 10% of people who are still buying it, if it's even that much.
Yeah, I mean, I just simply report on stuff. I don't necessarily, I don't out, when it comes to my news reporting, like when I do the articles on CBR and stuff like that, I'm just simply putting the information out there. I'm not necessarily saying good. If it is something like if it's an anime that I've watched or whatever, then yeah, I might say something. If it was a good anime, then I'll point that out. But for the most part, I'm not doing a lot of huge promotion. I'm just simply putting the information out there for people and then letting them decide for themselves. Yeah.
But God bless Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, because I've gained 2,000 followers on Twitter in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, you've gained a lot of followers on Twitter. From what I understand, Tug has gained followers on Twitter and subscribers on.
Tug celebrated 300,000 today.
And I did, of course, send him a link too. But of course, you know, it's like
all the
for
Twitter
him right
subscribers
now,
he's
Depp and
following.
Heard is the only thing. Even though the case is pretty much closing out, they just did closing arguments. But
yeah, we're waiting for the jury to come back and see what they say.
So it looks like we are coming up on an hour and a half here. Was there anything else you guys thought might be good to bring up?
No, not that I can think of. I think we covered all the war comics.
Yeah.
Although we didn't talk much about war.
Well, yeah, this was kind of
right.
an open. This was kind of an open panel. I was trying,
Yeah.
with a focus on like war comics and stuff because it was Memorial Day or whatever. Memorial. Well, it was Memorial Day here in the States. So, but we had a pretty good conversation going throughout. Actually, if anything, we talked more about comics or cartoons than comics, which is kind of a rare thing. I don't get as much a chance to do that as somebody calling you there, Rick. Oh. Yeah. So. Yeah. So RJ, was there any particular like war hero or war feature that was like your favorite?
Oh, probably the Weird War Tales, but only because I really like the twist endings that they put into those stories. I was big into all of DC's horror books, so when they did Weird War Tales, that's when it's like there'd always be a twist ending to it, unless it was something like the GI Robot or the Creature Commandos. Then it was like just weird all the way through. Just standard missions. It's just Dracula and Frankenstein and the Wolfman, or the Commandos going in.
Yeah.
So I like the original Creature Commandos. Not a big fan of the remake of them that they did later on.
Yeah. Well, as we're learning nowadays, remakes, reboots are not always that great.
Almost never.
Yeah. And we've been seeing that almost ad nauseum in the last 5-10 years here.
They always take something that was good and try to remake it. What they ought to do is take something that was crappy and didn't sell and see if they can't do a good version of it. That would be a novel idea.
Yeah.
Okay. I think one of the big problems with a lot of these more modern reboots, remakes, is they're trying to take these great properties, these great characters, these great locales, these great properties and stuff like that, and they're trying to apply their modern day sensibilities to them.
Yeah.
And that's just we've seen time and time again how that just doesn't work. Just
like I said, apply it to something that sucked, and maybe it'll make it better. But do a remake of My Mother the Car. Come on, that's just itching to be remade. Mom dies, but her consciousness gets uploaded into the dash cam. I don't know.
Actually, I think they did do something like that. I think wasn't there a show they kind of did with maybe not with the actual characters that you're talking about, but more with the concept. I think there was a show called The New Adventures of Old Christine, where I think they kind of did that kind of.
Yeah, that was just Elaine from
From Seinfeld?
Yeah, she was just turning 40 and having city adventures with her friends. But there wasn't any like science fiction or fantasy element to it.
Oh, going back to your birthday stream that we had last week. Have you found any of those comics yet that I
Oh, I
showed
haven't
you?
had a chance to leave the house, but I'm going to. I may have to go to eBay to do it, but I want to hit up my local long box shop first. Oh, look at those! Look at those Silver Age stickers that Rick's got back there. I'm looking at Catwoman. I think it's Cat. No, that's Batgirl. Looking at Batgirl. Looking at Aquaman with his trident. Um, Stuck him right on the closet door there. Supergirl. Yeah, yeah we're looking at your stickers, Rick. You can't hear us. Yeah.
Yeah,
We're looking at your stickers, Rick.
I think he stepped away from the computer.
Yeah, I did. Put him back. Yeah, you're looking at my.
Yeah, is that Batgirl and Supergirl and Aquaman?
Yeah.
Hey, Robert.
On the other one, I've got a Joker one. It came in a pack, and then there was the Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman all together, but it fell down. It wouldn't stick, so I threw it away. It was like $2 or $3 for, like all of them in a package at a dollar store. So I was like, I'm not gonna, complain. They lasted a couple years, and it's like all these other ones are lasting.
Woody says he loved My Mother the Car. Bill Bixby. Speaking of Bill Bixby, he loved My Mother the Car. I didn't know Bill Bixby was in My Mother the Car. I know Jerry Van Dyke was the lead actor on that one.
Well, Bill Bixby, of course, he was also Banner. Well, I don't think he was Bruce Banner. I think Dave Banner in The Incredible Hulk.
Yes.
And then he was also Uncle Martin, My Favorite Martian.
Well, he wasn't Uncle Martin. He was the Earth person who called the Martian his Uncle Martin. Looking to see if he was one of the listed characters. I don't see him.
And we've gone silent here because RJ's looking up something, Rick's doing something there.
Yeah, I'm just responding to I was getting a table at the Hamilton Comic Con, and I forgot to attach the application, and the guy wrote me back and saying, so Paul's left, and all that he has left is one corner booth. So I'm like,
you replied quickly, or you lost that.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, I gave him the money for a regular table because that's what I wanted, but if he had all that he has left, I'll take it and spend the extra $100.
Gotta take what you can get.
Yeah, so let's see. Yeah, we've had a good conversation for the last hour and a half here, so unless there's anything else you guys had in mind that you want to bring up, we might want to start wrapping up here a little bit.
Yeah, I need to do that. I got some. Business never stops, man. I tell you what, I was doing fulfillment duties right before I jumped on here with a new client, and now I got somebody emailing me that also is interested.
Well, if you can just stick around for a couple minutes after we go off, just for post game real quick.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So unless there's any other questions from the chat or anything like that, I think we'll start to wrap up here. So we're gonna, as we start to get towards the end, as it were. You guys know what time it is, right?
It's 9:34 here.
Well,
it's 10:34
what do I normally do at the end of the show, RJ?
You gotta say today in niche news.
This day in niche history. So is everybody ready for this day in niche history?
Maybe.
Fingers crossed.
All right. So, with that being said, today being Monday, May 30th, 2022, let's go ahead and take a look back at this day in niche history.
Portal. Are you going to put it up on the screen so
Yes, I will. I always do. First off, we're going to head back 75 years ago today. As on this date, 75 years ago today, the 75th issue of Captain Marvel Adventures went on sale on this date back in 1947. It had, of course, 4 Captain Marvel features and 1 Captain Kidd feature. And you see the cover right there. With that, so there's that. So on this date, 75 years ago today, the 75th issue of Captain Marvel Adventures went on sale on this day. So there we go with that one. And then let me see. And on this date, 15 years ago today,
Dun, 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 dun.
Avex came out with Avex Studios came out with the animated anime movie Initial D Battle Stage 2 on this date, a 1 hour movie on this date back in 2007. It was part of the Initial D. So on this date, back 15 years ago today, Initial D Battle Stage 2 when was released. So there we go with that one. And finally, 5 years ago today, on this date, 5 years ago today, at the TNA Impact taping, Sanjay Dutt defeated Loki for the TNA X Division Championship. So on this day, 5 years ago today in 2017, Sanjay Dutt defeated Loki for the TNA X Division Championship. All right, so that's all we have for you guys tonight. I thank everybody for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I thank you guys for coming. You're welcome. I thank everybody for all the likes and shares. Hopefully, you made this an entertaining show, informative show as always. And tomorrow we'll be back to the normal newscast. And of course, RJ, you're back here on Friday with me, filling in for Batgoat for the historical comic retrospect. Actually, before we go, we'll start with Rick, and then we'll do. Do you guys want to do any last minute promotions before we sign off here? I'll start with Rick because he's to my right.
Well, if anybody wants to go subscribe to my channel here on YouTube, it'd be really nice. Here, let me get the link for that for people. I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah, I think I did make you a mod, right?
Yeah, you did
so
about a month or 2 ago. So let's see. Oh yeah, just subscribe to my channel. Also, maybe sign up for my comic book that is coming out. I'm going to be launching on June 24th for that. 2 books in that you can get: Canadian Shield #2 and Snowdrift #1. They're going to be both fantastic, and there is the link.
And of course,
you've
been doing a live stream on your work on that, right?
Yeah, the coloring. I'm doing the coloring on it. I've got a couple different artists for the books themselves.
All right. So you done?
Yeah.
All right. RJ, you wanna pitch? You wanna pitch your stuff?
Oh, I'll do what I can here. I got to quickly mute the sound. Yes, there we go. Did it right away. I will just say that we have a pre-launch page up for our upcoming hardcover limited edition anthology. Not a comic book, not a graphic novel. It is real book. It will be signed by Mike Barron and Mark Fisher. The Devil You Know Better. And we will be going into full launch on that in about 2 weeks from today. Is it 2 weeks? It's a week from today. It is going live on June 6th at 6 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, which would be 1 p.m. Eastern. So we are launching it on 6 at 6. I looked at the calendar. It's like, when do you want to go live? I'm like, oh, it was just a perfect time for it. So that will happen. And then on 6/6 at 6 Mountain Time, 7 o'clock my time, usual day, we'll be doing a special stream with as many of the authors who contributed stories to that as possible. So it's sign up to get notified when we go live, and then go ahead and back the book. It's the simplest campaign in the world. It's the book. There's nothing to add on, but a lot of stretch goals. As we, for each $500 mile marker we hit, we will be adding a piece of artwork to the book. There's 20 stories. We'd love to get each of those stories have its own piece of chapter illustrated artwork from Stefano Cartazelli. We've got 2 of them commissioned on Faith alone, and also so we had artwork to show on the campaign. But links in the chat. Hit it up. Put your email address in there and sign up.
All right. Well, guys, thank everybody for being here. I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow night for each newscast, and then of course Friday, as I said, we'll be doing the historical comment resident with special guest RJ filling in for Batgoat. So until tomorrow, guys. Bye.